Welcome back to Terp Trends. Today, we're joined by someone who made a pretty incredible jump. From producing some of the biggest shows on television to building her own business in cannabis, Shavon Sullivan Wright is an Emmy Award-winning television producer with more than 20 years of experience working on productions like the Summer and Winter Olympics, The Apprentice, and owns Black Women Own the Conversation. After spending decades telling stories and bringing massive productions to life, she decided to take that experience, the leadership, and creativity into an entirely new industry. Today, Shavon is founder and CEO of The Grass Cab, a boutique cannabis dispensary in Bergen County, New Jersey, where she's focusing on creating an experience that feels welcoming, elevated, and inclusive. We're going to talk about what brought her to the cannabis space, the transition from television to entrepreneurship, and what it really takes to open and operate a dispensary in New Jersey. This is Terp Trends. Let's dive in. Shavon, welcome to Terp Trends.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
I'm excited too. How are you so far?
So far, so good. Let's do it.
How was that introduction? Did I kind of hit everything in a nice way?
You hit all the things.
All the things. Great. And if you could, for a moment, could you just give us a little idea currently what Shavon's working on and what that looks like right now?
I think I'm just working on building the Grass Cab. I am the Grass Cab at this point. I have a 13-year-old. I've got a husband. I've got an 89-year-old in my house, my dad. But I'm the Grass Cab. I am fully the Grass Cab. I wake up Grass Cab. I go to sleep Grass Cab, Grass Cab, Grass Cab.
And the Grass Cab dispensary, New Jersey, where about in New Jersey?
So we are in Bergen County. We are across from the Bergen Town Center. We are in Maywood, which borders Paramus. We are really right across from the shopping mall. So we're in a great location in Bergen County.
And you can kind of say, if you had to break it up, I would consider that more North Jersey.
It is North Jersey. So I think we're about 30 minutes from New York City, but it's definitely North Jersey.
Yeah, and there's a hustle up there.
Yeah, oh yeah. You pick up a little bit of the New York energy here.
You do, which is crazy because I've been working in that market for over a year now, and the differences between North, South, and Central Jersey, between just like customer and how to interact with them or the time that they have, it really differs from North to South.
I think I'm going to start a fight here. I don't think I acknowledge Central Jersey. Is that really a thing? What is that?
So okay, I'm from Pennsylvania, right? And I took on an adventure that was handling the whole market of Jersey. So I split it up into threes to make it easier for me to start learning where all these dispensaries were. And I had one in the middle I called Central Jersey.
Okay, I'll allow it.
So I'm sorry. My bad, Jerseyans. My bad. It's just a north-south there. I just now understood. Man, so opening a dispensary in North Jersey, and for people that don't understand, the Jersey market is it started out medical, now it's recreational. There's over 300 some dispensaries totaling and still rolling in that state, and majority of these dispensaries are actually centered in North Jersey. When I checked a year ago, it looked like 70% of dispensaries were mostly in that North Jersey, right? So what has life looked like opening up a dispensary in North Jersey for you?
So it took 4 years and a day from actually starting the LLC to actually open the doors. Yeah, you're making a face. Yeah. It was
4 years.
4 years and a day. We're getting tattoos that say 4 years and a day just because it took us that long. And it was, started the process in 2022, and it was, we were trying to find a property and trying to find the biggest struggle was finding investors. The biggest struggle was finding money that kept me as a CEO and not just the face of the company. It was money that would allow me to actually run the business and not, again, just become the face of the business. So I met with a lot of different companies. I met with a lot of different dudes. And it was really trying to find a deal that made a lot of sense. And more importantly, a deal that actually could lean into the experience that I was bringing to the cannabis industry and not just disregard all the things that I've done for the past 20 years.
Yeah. And how has that been trying to find that merge? Because
It's
It's
tough.
hard sometimes.
It's really, really tough. Like I would hop on calls with investors, and before I even spoke, it was like, well, no, you don't know anything because you've never actually sold cannabis here, and well, you don't know this because, and it's like, okay, but I've also managed multi-million-dollar projects from start to finish, and I can manage those projects, come on time on those projects, and under budget on those projects, and I know how to hire a team, I know how to build a team, and I know how to process payroll for those. Like I come with a wealth of experience, and it was just completely disregarded. And there's a weird thing that's happening in the industry where the money is not only predatory, but it's like it really is controlling and manipulative in a lot of ways. It's like, because I have the money, you therefore must do all of these things, or it's like, or we could just make a deal that's on paper and that's the deal. There shouldn't be a way that you're trying to push me into something or push me to do something else. The deal is the deal. So it's a weird space in that regard.
And did you think going into the cannabis space, kind of with just like the precursors of what surrounds cannabis, did you think you would face those types of issues with the individuals or people?
No, cannabis is like, you think of cannabis, like cannabis is like, for me, it's happy. For me, it's like, it's returning to myself. It's dancing, it's movement, it's all of those things. And I never, ever expected to encounter the types of things that I've encountered. Like it has been very hard and very challenging. Like that's the part of it that's difficult for me, is just dealing with the money facing aspects of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I say it probably on every episode about cannabis is it's such a yin and yang because you have these high profile business executives who are getting involved in it, but like the people behind this plant is the culture and the community and like we believe in this plant and we want it to survive, but do we have that type of business aspect to get it there? And it's the water and the waves that these two collisions create. I've seen so many deals just go sour throughout my years because they can't get along.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of stock bros that are in this industry. And unfortunately, stock bros move with fast money. They don't know how to build business. They're not on the ground actually building something. They're just looking for the next quick thing. And if you don't have the right people who can actually build a business, build something that can actually sustain, then you have people who are in a market. And when that market's not working, they move on to another market because you don't know how to build a store. You don't know how to build around the store. You don't know how to build the community to come to the store. It's really just fast money's here, so let's move on to the next fast money and move on to the next fast money. Like, we really need people who know how to build. Like, Macy's was not built on fast money. Macy's has been around for like 100 years. Macy's is built to be a store that brings people in, and we're just not doing that. We're letting fast money rule our industry, fast money make decisions in our industry, fast money make the rules in our industry versus like, hey, where are the people who know how to build an industry? Where are the people who know how to, build a business? And those people don't have seats at the table because the money's going, well, that's okay, but I can do it this way, or I know this. And it's like, we need more voices in cannabis. We need more different experiences in cannabis. We need people who come from, different backgrounds into cannabis and actually get a chance in cannabis and not just, you're the face of your company now. I'm sorry, I'm on my high horse today.
No, no, but it's needed because it's a voice that isn't just yourself. It's a voice that's been echoing since we started this crazy merge and wanted to create a business around this plant rather than just making it legal, right? For people to just grow it. Um, And it's something that I find in the space where we need to learn how to play better together because the quality is going out the door.
Yeah.
And the plant, we're so concerned with quality when it comes to the growing practices, but how is that going to translate to the business practices? Why aren't the business practices quality? Why are we, getting kind of shit for not kind of maybe having the look or blending in because you don't think I know cannabis? Like, why am I getting tossed for that? Why would you consider the chat above me over that? And it's something that's happening not just in New Jersey, it's happening in every state and probably going to happen in other countries when they start legalizing or making businesses out of this plant. So how did you overcome that? Because that's crazy that
Um,
you had to go through.
I think it was just being persistent. I think, I was scammed very early on. We, our
Oh,
consultants, yeah, our consultants introduced us to a money broker. The money broker introduced us to a guy in Florida, and the guy in Florida said, "Hey, I can give you the loan you're looking for your business." And this was a loan, so this wasn't taking on any extra partners or anything. It would be 100%. So that's a great deal. But then he said, "Hey, there's a surety bond you have to pay." And, my lawyers looked at it, the consultants looked at it. It looked like a legit deal. But that legit deal cost us six figures to pay the surety bond. And of course, once we paid the surety bond, the excuses started. Oh, the wire's coming from overseas, so it got caught with this turnover that happened with the federal government. And oh, this happened. And oh, I've been in the hospital. And oh, this man gave us excuses for several weeks. And finally, the money broker said to send us some sort of like e-check. And when he sent us the e-check, his real name was on the e-check because he's been using a fake name. And so, of course, I Googled the real name and I was like, oh my God, this man has lawsuits. This man has bankruptcy. This man has all of these things. And we're still pursuing this man to this day. And that was 2023. So in 2023, I kind of got spun around. Like it was really detrimental to trying to build the business, trying to find the next thing, because then I became guarded. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I should trust this. I don't know if I should move forward with this. And it just became challenging. And eventually I found a deal that looked really good. And so I was like, okay, if we're going to do it, now's the time to do it. And I think that was 2024. And all of 2025, it was just trying to make sure the state had everything that they needed. And they did. But it took them about a year to get back to me saying, yes, you now have a license. So everything takes much longer than you expect it to take.
so many crazy things come down to a man in Florida.
It does. It absolutely does.
What the hell? What's going on with that? That's crazy. Sorry, I feel like I needed some humor in that really just drastic situation because that's just terrible. And I wonder how much that happens in this space compared to other
A
spaces.
lot.
Because in this space, people need the loans, and it's not as easy to get these loans as it is any type of other industry. But yet we're still, working legally because it's allowed, and it's just wild the limitations and the hoops you have to jump through to just be a normal business owner
Yeah.
that a state still deems legal. But, what the heck? So, you're from New Jersey?
I'm from DC, but I've lived in Jersey off and on since college, and I've been back for the last 10 years. So
Okay.
Jersey's like
And
second home.
okay. And what I guess they were a little bit before the whole DC program, but what enticed you to stay and go to New Jersey rather than building shop in like a DC area?
I think, we were talking about earlier, we put down roots. I've got a 13-year-old who's been going to the schools here, and, he's having, I really want him to have those friends from kindergarten on. I wanted to have, him to be in a space where he can like walk to school and walk to places. And I'm a little cheesy, so I love the downtown area in my town. So there's like a cute little ice cream shop, so he can walk down the street to the ice cream shop. And I wanted that for him. So, when my husband and I settled here in Jersey, we had literally lived so many different places because we met in California, we moved to DC, but then we were in Maryland, like outside of DC, and then like we bounced around a lot at first. And once we got to Jersey, it's like, okay, this is it. We live here, we're going to settle here, and we're going to build a life here. So, that was really important for us to do that. And so really when the 2022 when the news hit, I think, it's still, to me, it was still sort of like this weird pandemic era. And I was working a couple jobs, and someone just kind of mentioned cannabis, and my husband's a recovering attorney, and he was like, oh, I don't know about this, like, it's all this like regulations, and I don't know. And he was very, very nervous at first. And it was like, well, let me just start going to meetings and let me just kind of figure it out. And I started going to meetings, and I was like, I think we can actually do this. And, having, some legal on my side and, coming with the operational experience, like together, we were a really good team to like, we can do this. We can build and do the applications and all the things. And, he was definitely a little nervous. It's definitely been pulling him along for most of the ride here.
It's good you have that counterpart
Yeah.
because sometimes just knowing the legal language and all of that. And just having someone, rather than ChatGPT and some friends over the phone
Yeah.
that like can break stuff down and
Yeah.
really like dig into it. Because if you don't know that language, there are so many things that you can just like get burned on.
Yeah.
And there's things you need to know and point out and be able to act on. And that battle itself, getting into this industry, is just insane. Me being behind it before and looking at things, I'm just like, I don't know what I'm reading.
Yeah.
Like we need law, people.
Yeah.
Find somebody, let's bring them in, and then let's get on with it. So you came up with the vision, you saw it, you're building your team, obviously going to friends and family and being like, hey, I'm going to start a dispensary. They might look at you a little crazy, especially considering what you're working on before, right? So how was that reception with friends and family, other than your man's? He was cool with it.
Yeah. It,
With some arm twisting.
yeah, I have had four brothers, and they were really cool with it. They were like, "Oh yeah, okay," and I have become the family plug. So, like,
Nice.
our grand opening, my brother was like, "Hey, so are you sending some of those sleep gummies down? Because I could use some of those." And my other brother was here, and just yeah, I am the new family plug. So that's been fun. And my dad, I give him updates, and he kind of chuckles to himself. He's like, like he's very proud in ways that I did not expect him to be proud. So it's been very warm and fuzzy over here. So good.
And growing up, what was cannabis like relationship wise with you?
Honestly, so my mom always called it the funny stuff, and she'd always be like, somebody's smoking that funny stuff. And one of my brothers, he struggled with substance abuse for his entire life. So it was very hard watching him struggle. And my dad actually struggled with substance abuse. So it was very tough and challenging in those ways. And unfortunately, my brother passed away from a drug overdose. So that
Sorry
was
to hear that.
part of, thank you. But that was part of it too, is like that happened in 2020. And it was, looking at how people are using substances and how using it to cope with pain and cope with whatever's happening in your life, and really wanting to come out of that and really educate people. So that's why education is a big component of the grass cab, and really, trying to get into places and ways and communities that, we're just not talking about it. Like one of my favorite things about my store is that it's welcoming to everybody. Like I can see like older people come in, and like older women come in, and women come in, and men come in. And it's like no one's really turned off by the space. Like it really is very welcoming and very warm. And I really love that. I love that I was able to create something like that. I feel like sometimes I go into dispensaries and they feel like parties I wasn't invited to. And this one just feels like, no, you're everybody's welcome here. Everybody can come in here. And people kind of come in, and the first thing they say is wow, because we've got this like old cab at the front and broke, cut it in half, and that's our front desk. But like it's the wow factor, but it's also this like this intimacy that comes with having a boutique dispensary, this intimacy that comes with having people that are really answering questions. Like people literally leave like, okay, so I take this one in the morning, I take this one in the afternoon, I take this one at night. Like we're literally writing instructions, but they're having these great conversations with the bud tenders who are really talking them through like, okay, if this is what you need, what you're trying to achieve, let's try this. And if this doesn't work, come back, talk to us, let us know it didn't work. We're happy to try something else or recommend something else, or point you in the right direction. But that's what's really happening here, and I love that. And
Yeah.
that's really important to me.
And that's what cannabis is all about.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I try to. I've been consulting for a handful of years now, and I deal with a lot of people who want to get into this space. And one thing that they don't a lot, I won't say everybody, a lot of them don't have is like the why story, or understand like the community aspect of what this plant is. Because they're, like we said before, they're just old business folk that haven't done this, but they see the money in it. So now they're coming over here to be like, yo, XYZ, what's up? And I'm just like, yo, whatever your experience was, I want you to learn about it and own it, but like throw it out the door at the same time.
Yeah.
Because we're about to go on a journey that's unlike any of your other ones, and just like buckle up and probably get your checkbook going,
Yeah.
But a lot of them lose touch with, I'll say again, quality, because like you said, fast money, and two, community, because they just want to turn it around.
Yeah, as fast as possible.
And that's not what cannabis is.
Yeah.
Or maybe it is, and I'm just jaded.
No.
But I don't think that's, me and my whole interaction with this plant has always been around community and learning about how to help your neighbor or help your friend or help your family member and try to help them achieve some type of relief naturally.
Yeah.
Um, in a very unnatural world that we live in. So, how'd you come up with that name, the grass cat?
I just want to go back one second before that. I think
Please, please.
cannabis is the great unifier. Cannabis, like when you think of the first time you ever smoked, or when you think of the first time, you had your edible or whatever it is, your first time, it's like if you looked around that room, it's like it's people that look like you, but also people that don't look like you, people who, from all these different walks of life. And it's like there's something kind of magical in that. There's something kind of really special in that. And it's like if we lose that part of it, then I think that's hard for this community. That's hard for cannabis. But like we need to lean into that more. We need to lean into like it doesn't just look like the bros. It doesn't just look like the dudes. And again, on those earlier phone calls, I think I was shut out because I was like, no, women are smoking. Women are in there like, yeah, we don't know about that. And it's like when you look at Target selling CBD drinks and women are going in and buying those drinks in Target, women are trying this. Women are looking for escape is not the right word because I don't look at it as an escape. I look at it to, you know, I'm going to go on a tangent here, but like women change so much as we age. And it's like, I look at it as a way to kind of return to myself, a way to kind of feel grounded and to feel rooted. And I know a lot of moms may feel that way. A lot of women who maybe in that perimenopausal phase of life feel that way. And like, that's how I look at it. That's my approach for cannabis and stuff. And like, but going back to the unifier, like you can bring in so many different groups of people who just want to, maybe they are looking for relief. Maybe they're looking for the giggle high. Maybe they're looking for something else, but like you can bring them in and just make them feel welcome. And again, I just think that that's the part that's missing. And then to answer your question, the grass cap, because initially thinking about delivery, initially we're like, the husband who was a little nervous, he's like, I don't know about this. So I was like, let's dip our toe in and do delivery. So that's kind of how I got him on board. It's like, do delivery. And the grass cap is a fun delivery name. But then when, we started doing a bit more research, we pivoted into a dispensary and just kind of using the cab elements is a way to help us stand out, is a way to help us, distinguish ourselves in a market that is crowded, that is saturated. But if you come here, you're going to get something a little different and unexpected, and you'll walk in and you will get that wow factor.
It's important. I feel like delivery, you would be selling yourself short with what you're envisioning and how you're interacting and how you've interacted with the community in the past. I feel like I'm very happy you landed this way.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, it's because we've like the whole there's a lot of people like us in the space, but there's a lot of people that don't operate like us in the space. And the element that you're bringing with the community, the education, and just how you feel people should interact with this plant is very important. And we wouldn't have that. Well, they would have it with your delivery drivers at the upon of the entrance of the sale, but they wouldn't be able to come in and call you guys family
Yeah.
because that's what they're going to start doing in your
Yeah.
community. They're gonna, you're gonna be a daily, weekly, bi-weekly stop for these new individuals in your community, and you're going to get to really know them. And that's the part of cannabis that I love in the dispensary side is when I would open up new stores and be there for a couple of years and bouncing around and working with the patients and PA when it was medical or it's still medical. And it was very hands-on. It was getting to know that person and really try to make them understand like why cannabis is the step for them. Because a lot of these people are scared, they're in pain, they need relief, and they don't know what to do.
Mhm.
And we are the people that they're entrusting with that. And people don't carry that torch as close to their heart that I think they should when it comes to these certain stores. So I think it's great that you are capturing that.
Yeah. No, I
So
love
so
it.
give me a little picture. So you gave me the idea. You walk in, you see a cab cut in half, and that's going to be the front desk. Could you paint a bigger picture of what we're working with, like when you walk in the doors or anything like that?
I will tell you, someone came in today and she was selling a product for the store, but she said like I've gone to lots of different dispensaries, I've done a lot of research, but coming in here, it's like it's bright and it's welcoming, and there's just something unique about it. And I think that's the best way to describe it. The walls they're not quite a yellow cab color, but there's a nice yellow along the walls. I have license plate lights over the POS stations. Um, yeah, it's kind of cool. And then there's the cab, and then there's a checkered tiling that runs along the side, and there's these great big cab photos around the store too. So it's all on theme, it's all on brand, it all kind of ties together, and it's all really cool.
No, that sounds really cool. And how in you're there stationed now, so how involved are you with the store, daily operations and everything like that?
I am here just about every day unless my husband kicks me out. So I'm here placing the orders, I'm here receiving inventory, processing payrolls, like everything. I am everything. So, and I have a team. I have a great team. I found some really great people who are knowledgeable in ways that I am not, and I've surrounded myself with them, and they definitely help keep the ship going. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You need a team
Yeah.
in this case. That just ties back to everything. But so you've worked on some pretty heavy productions. And maybe I don't know what it's like behind the scene, but when I read that, titles like The Olympics or The Apprentice, things like that. Like to me, I'm just like, whoa, that's massive. So how did you take that experience and the pressure that you've had to deal with in that scene? Because I know that's trained you for dealing with the pressure and the community and people and team building that you're doing on this side of things. How did all that come together? Do you think you prepared yourself pretty well for what you're getting into now?
I think I'm prepared pretty well because I think I learned how to juggle in TV. So I think TV is one of those things where I love to say this, every day was completely different. So if I had a team that was working in Iceland and they got stepped on the side of the road, and I had a team that was shooting in Vietnam and the cameras got hot, and then I had another team down in South America and their gear didn't arrive, and we've got three different time zones, lots of different WhatsApp messages going, but it's like you wake up in the morning and you have to solve all of those problems. So it's a lot of juggling. It's a lot of like trying to find the solutions, and you have to find solutions quickly. So I'm very good at pivoting very quickly, solving a problem and moving on to the next thing. And it's TV, so it's, I like to be as prepared as possible, but also give enough room for everything to go to completely wrong, because it's you're traveling somewhere, you're shooting somewhere, or people don't show up, and you've booked a room or something like that. Like there's just so many things that could go wrong. So I think I learned how to juggle, which is what I'm doing here. I'm juggling all of the things and all of the pressure, and really try my best to just push through and push through with the vision for myself, and push through with the vision for the grass cab, and not have it be influenced or jaded or persuaded, or just anything that's not what I see for this store, because I feel like this store could really be something really great. I feel like you know we started bands. It's like a front porch concert on Fridays, which I'm very excited about.
Oh,
But they fit on the front porch, and they're playing out to like, the crowds at the Bergen Town Center. But just doing that is like bringing the community in. People were walking down the street one Friday. It was like a woman with their husband and their baby. They stopped, they listened. And like, people were walking by like, oh my God, this is so cool. And they came over and listened. We did a car meet yesterday. My entire parking lot was filled with cars for the car meet, but it was cool to just have like, again, families could come here. It was more of a community event. And that's what I want us to be. Like, I don't just want this to be, like you said, your daily, your weekly, your monthly. I want you to have a reason to come here that's not just because you want to buy your weed. I want you to have a reason to come here because like we're in the community. We're involved in the community. We're doing something that like gives you a place to go on a Saturday or a Sunday that's not just, what you're normally doing. So yeah.
yeah. So there's two things that one, you mentioned earlier that it's really nice that you live on a block and you have an ice cream parlor down
Yeah.
the street. And one of my things that I always say that I miss, because you see the old flicks and they always had the ice cream shop and it was so cool, like Back to the Future and things like that. Like, and I always think today, I'm like, man, I bet you a lot of kids would be better off if we still had those ice cream shops, right? A nice, comfortable place that you can go to and the community can thrive and just be themselves. And I like to hear that you just said that you have live music playing on your porch because it's then opening up a reason for people to come rather than just cannabis or, I'm sure they want to come in and say, what's up, obviously, but it's cool when you can bring in the community for a place to meet. And that's what I'm loving, seeing that more lounges are opening up and we're getting more lenient with these things because everyone can go anywhere and pretty much have a drink. Like, that's cool. You can go, let's have several drinks, use your judgment, we'll be intoxicated and do whatever. But yet, you have one person that smokes outside, it smells bad, like it's trouble. Things like that, where I'm like, well, the community needs a space to consume safely and be with each other. Because, like, we've all been closet smokers our whole lives, basically. And unless you had homies or your neighbor was actually cool, like you're not really blazing with your neighbor or like being able to go and just hang out with your community and enjoy what you enjoy. Or you're gonna just you can, but you'll get some eyes, and things like that. And it's kind of nice when you're smoking and you don't get the eyes.
Yeah.
So I think it's really cool that you're putting up that safe space for your community and doing all that. And the car show, I just love that you have a parking lot in North Jersey because I've been to so many dispensaries up there that don't have a parking lot, and I got to put 30 minutes extra on my route of the day just to find some parking. So that is for everyone that's listening and you're in North Jersey. I just answered your prayers. There's a couple places where I know that there's like a public lot that I can go to, and I've Ubered to the store.
Wow.
Because I'm just like, there's no parking. Like Jersey City, there's no parking in Jersey City. Where are you going to do that? And how are you going to have a business and then not give people parking?
Yeah.
That blows my mind.
So we had a very small parking lot at first. It was an oral surgeon's office. And I went to the urologist. My husband went to the urologist. My dad went to the urologist. And finally, I went and got a colonoscopy just to get the extra parking. I had to go to my lot because there was a building next door that had a huge lot directly behind us. And we had to go in all of those times just to find out who was actually who had control over that parking lot and start talking to them about renting some additional space. So we've got this.
And you're able to.
Yeah. So we have I think we have about 10 spaces in our lot, and then they have about 120 spaces in their lot that we have access to.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And how was it meeting the community around your store and the other store owners? Were they into it? Were they little like,
yeah, no.
What was that like?
We're really, really fortunate. There literally is a tattoo shop across the street. And before we open, like they would come out and yell across the street, "When are you guys opening?" So we're super excited. They've been really great to work with. We actually partnered on a grand opening. They ran flash tattoos. We did this carnival block party event. So they had people coming over there. We were kind of pushing people back and forth across the street, which was amazing. There's a hair salon right next to them, and they come over. They are, customers. But my favorite moment from the grand opening is we're cutting the ribbon, and I look up and all the women are in the front of the hair salon and they're all going as soon as I cut the ribbon. So they've been really, really great too. There's a massage therapist across the street. We've talked to her about maybe doing an event with her. And again, the building next door, we did all the appointments, but they've been really cool too. And like the doctors have come over and we've talked to them and trying to do like a presentation with them too, so that we can get some of their patients into the store and find the right products for them. So yeah, we're kind of a cool space.
It's so important. I was just with somebody, they opened up a store and they're neighboring next to like a brewery. And the brewery has a cool space, like a backyard, lights, all the shebangles that you like. And I was talking to my buddy who I was touring the space with, and I was like, "Oh, dude, that's so sick. You have a brewery like next door. Like you guys could do a lot of like mixed events. Like that's really cool." And he's just like, "Yo, that's what I thought until we met the owners, and they're just like very anti-weed." And I heard that, and I was just like, "Dang, like that." It's a buzzkill right there. I was like, that stinks. Because, like, people are going to wonder what's going on. They already have normal customers coming in, and they're going to wonder. And it's like, how does that first interaction of your business, like, how does that help you or not help you? Because if your neighbor doesn't like you and people go to your neighbor and they're just like, oh,
don't go there.
It's like,
they
could just be giving them a false representation.
Yeah.
Because they're actually really cool people. And the store is really cool. And they have a parking lot as well. It's not in North Jersey, so don't worry. But yeah, I just like I felt bummed hearing that for them, that their neighborhood wasn't really down to for the dispensary. And I've heard that on the grow side of things, like a big grow coming up and the neighbors they don't like the smell.
Mhm.
So it was like a big petition to like rezone the grow and everything like that. Like that happened in Pennsylvania quite a few times when the program first started, and that was such a headache. Because I feel like that's going to be the biggest thing that we face with cannabis is the smell
Yeah.
and smoking, right?
No, I think I've been really good at trying to connect with our neighbors. The guys from Hackensack Brewery actually came to the car meet and they came with DJs. So they popped up a tent and they were like DJs battling out in the parking lot yesterday. So they're really cool and we're talking about how we can work together. So I'm really trying to make as many friends as I can because it's not just me and this little grass cab. It's how we can go into the community and be part of it and do all the things with everybody else and play well with everybody.
Yeah.
And I think
No, it's important.
break down the stigma, just us being in places you don't quite expect us and doing things that you don't quite expect.
There's always cannabis users in spaces you would never expect
Yeah.
them to be in. And usually with that, they're doing things that you wouldn't expect them to be doing. I grew up with that. And when I started helping people out is what I like to say these days to keep it, politically correct. I would just be like, whoa, I never thought that I would be across from you, like, and this is our interaction right now.
Yeah.
Teachers, lawyers, parents, like it was crazy being a teenager with some good pot. And once that word like gets around, the people that would be like, oh, hey, I heard like, and you're like, whoa, I never even thought. Like, what the heck? And that's what's so cool when people learn about you and you can bring them all together. Now you have a spot to do that. So what keeps you motivated to keep doing it?
I just think that this is going to be such a cool place. Like I it sounds so cheesy, but like I can just I know what it could be, and I know it just sounds so cheesy, but like I know what this spot could be, and it's just
Yeah.
getting to that spot and just getting to that place and just being there. I think that's the motivation. Like we just started, we just opened. We're doing okay. But we just opened and it's like I just know.
How long have you been open? Like 2 weeks now? A week?
No, I think it's about 8 weeks.
8 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay. Your grand opening?
Was July 11th. So we soft
July
opened for
11th.
6 weeks to just kind of work out the kinks and
Okay.
make sure we had good operating systems in place. And July 11th was our grand opening. So we're probably 2 weeks out from that. But
Yeah. That's what I had in my head. I was
yeah,
like, wait a
grand
second,
opening. Yeah.
there's no way it's been 8 weeks since I saw that.
No. It was
Yeah,
the grand opening was just
that's awesome.
but yeah, and it's really just starting to get into the fun stuff. Like the house, so the porch concert is on the house next door. We rented the house next door. So
Hey,
so
yo, good
with-
thinking there.
oh,
Whose thought was that? The lawyer? Was that the lawyer thinking? No?
the lawyer, so it's me. Anything scary is
Let's go.
yeah. But yeah, so we rented the house next door, and so we've got the front porch, but we also have this like back patio that we just finished last week. And the thought with the back patio is to do like rolling classes and glass blowing classes and edible making classes. But I also want to get into the yoga. I also want to get into the health. I also want to do all of those things. So it's like putting all the pieces together. That's what I'm excited for. Getting all the different, events and different things that we want to do, and just bringing people here and giving people a reason to be here. I want to see what that feels like and looks like. So,
And you just figured out a niche. You just figured out why the grass cab. Because that's it. When it comes down to it, there's over 300 stores in the state. Why me over them besides my menu or the promos that I can offer you?
Yeah.
Because Jersey's cutthroat with promos.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I hope it chills out. I hope it's not a race to the bottom of what we're dealing with now, because it's competitive out there. And I try to tell people, okay, first year or two operation, that's good, but how do you stay? How do you stay in a state like this with the program like this?
Yeah.
What's your plan?
Yeah.
And it seems like you have been thinking about it, because it's a community thing, and you need to give the community something. So if the state's not going to allow you to do that, how do you still do it?
Yeah.
And you just figure that out, because the community always needs spaces, right? Safe spaces.
Yeah.
Put it that way. That's cool.
Yeah.
Education, cooking, cannabis, all of it. I think people are going to be really grateful that you offer that. What are you most excited for?
Again, I think,
Besides all of it, right?
yeah. So I'm looking at August and really trying to, program is not the right word, but kind of program it in a lot of ways, kind of plan out like all these different fun events that I'm looking forward to. So, and I know each month is going to be a little different, but I'm excited about that. And that's where the TV, the logistics, the creative kind of comes in. It's like, okay, what can we do this day? And I think we have bands now through the end of September. So we've got a band every Friday night through the end of September. And then I've got classes probably starting next week and just making sure. And we want to do something like Ask the Bud Tender, because there's always like all these weird kind of things that you just, and I think I like to think in ways of like, everybody's kind of doing the same thing on social, but what can we do that's a little different? So if we do like an Ask the Bud Tender, we can go out live with the Ask the Bud Tender. So you can kind of, type your questions in the chat, like, hey, I really want to know what a great terpene, what I can use, and like the ratios and all that stuff. Like we have those conversations in stores with people. So I want to be able to open that up. And if we open it up to a live, then we're not just getting the people here in Jersey. Maybe we can get somebody else who's just sitting around like, hey, I've got a question too. I really, this group is answering really great questions and giving good advice. Let me tap into that. Let me talk to that. So then the Grass Cab is not just here in Jersey. You're talking about us in another place too. And hopefully, as we grow and expand, we'll end up there. We might get there. Who knows?
I think that's great. I think, and especially any way to capitalize on this new social galaxy that we live in, whatever this is that we're forming, it gets bigger and bigger every single day. Any avenue, again, that puts you over your neighbor. What is your legacy? How do you create more roots? How do you get that more planted? And that's getting more involved with the people, getting more involved with your community, offering them more, and not more in the terms of discounts or promos or things like that, just more in general around cannabis.
Yeah.
Man, that's a lot. So one thing I don't think I really asked though, where was the spark of transition? Because you were involved in a lot of cool things before, and that had to be fulfilling, and you had to really enjoy it for being in it 20 plus years and the volume that you were in. So where was that moment? That switch where you were just like, you know what? And you looked at your husband and you said, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, I think it was, it's COVID. COVID sort of changed everything. There were lots of strikes that were happening during COVID. And so my industry was changing a little bit. Industry's changing. And again, 2022, and someone just said the word cannabis. And it really just feels like from the time they said it, it was like, wait, what? And really, we started having those conversations at home. I remember sitting on the porch with him, just being like, hey, like, does this make sense for us? Does this make sense for our family? Does this make sense for our lives? Can we do this? And those are really heavy conversations that we were having because, again, he still kind of practices law, but he's not fully in law. And I think he was worried about the repercussions, but I've always been in this like entertainment space. So it doesn't really matter for me. Like, but we had those intense conversations, and then started going to events, and I was like, okay, how do we do this? Like, how do we put it together? And I guess we got to a point where like, okay, we need a bit of assistance, so we started working with a couple consultants and took it from there. But it was really just, I think my industry was just changing at a time where it became legal here in Jersey, and it just, something was like, okay, let's try it. Let's lean into it. I had no idea it would take as long as it did, but here we are.
I've heard even longer.
I believe
the other day I was touring a store, and I asked the owner, and she said, we've been fighting this for 6 years now, and paying rent along the whole way.
Oh my God.
And that's what people don't see in this space is like, yeah, you could get the go ahead and the license approved, but the amount of regulations that go into finding the space, what needs to go into the space, the zoning practices for the space, if you're rebuilding, like that is a process because now you're on inspection time, getting passes from the city, contractor, all of these things. she was like, yeah, we've been in it for 6 years. I'm fighting in another state for the other property that we've been paying for 4 years. And we're now operational in Jersey. And I was just like, God bless you.
Yeah, that's
And
also part of
it's,
like the money thing though too. Like if you're spending money for 6 years, sometimes you could run out of money before you even open your doors.
and a lot of people have faced that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of licenses that go right back up to the market because they weren't even able to get operational.
Yeah.
And they had the tank in them when they first started, but all the other loopholes that this industry puts in place for people or business owners, like, it's a battle.
Yeah.
And I always tell that to the start. If ever I'm consulting someone, I go, I just want you to know, like, this isn't a get in, get out.
Yeah.
If that's what you're looking for, like, you better have even more money and then not want to do anything with it and not manage it. You just give it away.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking to be hands on with it all, like, this just isn't your spot unless you want to open it yourself.
Yeah.
But if you're going to lend this and then expect it to be expedited back to you, like, I need to paint this really fast to you, you need to sleep on it.
Yeah. More
Because
sleep.
it's brutal in this space,
Yeah.
right? So we talked about revenue a lot, money, fast cash, things like that. And in a business, obviously that's what measures your success. But say you had to take revenue out of the word success in this, what do you think that means for you and the grass cat? Like, what does success look like?
Love when people just leave happy. So it really
Yeah.
is just like people leaving happy, people leaving excited. And really, I love when people come in, and I love when people come in for the first time, because there aren't many people who've walked through the doors and haven't said, wow. And I'm not joking. Like, it's really like a wow when people walk in the store. And that's just, it's really cool to have created a space that people have a reaction to, and a reaction in a positive way, not negative, but like that reaction in a positive way, and that they want to be in the space. Like, people will say, like, I really just enjoy just talking to the bud tenders. I really just enjoy talking to the team. And they come back. Like, we've only been open 8 weeks, but we have a lot of repeat customers in that 8 weeks that are just coming through the doors because they like the conversation that they've got, or they like the products that they received, or they just like the space.
Yeah. And what's that like? So products, liking the products.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Right. And it seems like you're doing the buying at the moment. How is that journey? Because that's a lot to take on,
Yeah.
especially if you're not coming from a big, not saying you weren't, but with a huge understanding of what each individual product means. How's it going to register with the consumer? And then what are the margins for these products, and why is one so different than the other one?
Yeah.
Right. How has that been?
I think initially the ordering, I don't know if you should place and I don't feel like I placed a really big order, but I feel like the store kind of told me what the store needed. The customer kind of came in and really, like, vapes move very quickly in my store. Flour does not move as quickly. Pre-rolls move quickly. And so it was, once I figured that out within the first couple of weeks, I got some, economic pre-rolls on the menu, and I added some drinks on the menu. And, I saw something fun like popsicles. People are coming for the popsicles.
Yeah.
It's like trying to find the right mix of products that are actually moving on the store. I had one vape that I just tested out, and it was sold out within a week. So I ordered some more, and then that sold out. But it's like, there's certain flavors or like strains that are just doing so well here in this store, and it's vapes. And I know I've got some flour that I'm like, the flour hasn't really moved as well. So I'm trying different things, but maybe this isn't a big flower store. Maybe it is just the vapes. Maybe it's the gummies. Maybe it's, it's everything else that is moving a little bit better than some of the other traditional things. And that's okay, as long as we have what the customers are asking for, as long as we have, what they need. So I think it's really, if someone is thinking about ordering for the first time, don't do a big order. Try to see what your customers really want before you kind of dig in. And I think, again, I didn't really have a lot of operational cash. I didn't really put big orders out there, but I wish I'd done a little bit more in one area and less in the other.
Yeah. Learning experiences.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because every store is so different.
Yeah.
Like, even if you have a store, which you may, even like 4 or 5 miles away, like those buying patterns, even if you have access to Hoodie or whatever you use to look into it, it could be completely different
Yeah.
than what you're facing
Yeah.
5 miles, which is
Wild.
wild, wild,
Yeah.
right? So you being kind of the buyer, you are the gatekeeper, right? And in my past self, I was a salesman for reps or brands and things like that. So what piece of advice could you give to future salespersons either trying to get onto your shelf or just a different shelf and like the pitch? Because I know you deal with so many on a daily basis. And no offense to everyone in cannabis, we're all trying to sell the same thing, right? So we may have a better brand story and things like that. But like, what do you look for to make that decision?
I think I really rely on my team. So if my team is like, hey,
Yeah.
we don't really like this, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who are recommending it to customers. So if someone's really interested in being at the grass cap, it's really making sure my team has tried your product and really likes your product, because they're going to come to me like, hey, I didn't really like this, and I've tried it and I didn't like this, I didn't like this. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to buy it if you don't really like it, because at the end of the day, they're not going to recommend that product. And I've run into a couple brands like that already, where it's like the team has said they don't like them. So
Yeah.
and
Nice. No, it's a brutal thing to hear when you're the rep. Like, oh, we tried it, we didn't like it. You're just like, oh well, what the hell am I supposed to say to that? You
yeah, but
know?
again, if they're the ones who are like really selling the product and they don't like the product, it's not gonna move
Yeah.
here. And then I don't want to be in a situation where like, hey, it's not moving, and now we're having an uncomfortable conversation where like, can you take it back? Because it's not like,
Cool.
I'd rather find
Yeah.
the things, and I like the fun things. I like the weird things. Because again, I don't just think, I think cannabis grows with you as you age, as you go through life. And I like leaning into like the bombs, the tinctures. If we're talking to the doctor's offices, I want to make sure that when their patients come in, hey, if they have there's a chiropractor next door, make sure we carry the things that will soothe achy muscles and things like that. I like I like the the butters and the oils and those things too, because I like
Yeah.
giving the power to people to make their own edibles. And you can try that stuff at home, and you don't just have to buy something that's already packaged. But if you know how to really create your own edibles, which is why the education is so important in doing that class, I want to lean into that side of it. Like, I don't just want this to be a run-of-the-mill kind of store. I want you to go, you know what, I really want to do this, and I bet you they have it at the Grass Cap.
Yeah. Oh, that's so sick.
Yeah.
That's so sick. And I will say, if you're looking for butters and you don't have it already, I always
And a
recommend
warrior.
Beta Warrior.
Yeah, I just got them in like a week ago. So yeah, I really want, and I've been trying to chase the rep, but I really want to do my edible making class with them, because I have the oils, I've got their butter, I've got everything downstairs. And
Yeah.
I really want to do that edible making class with Beta Warrior.
Oh, I can hook you up with Smirda, the owner,
Please.
after this call.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once I hit recording, just
Okay.
don't exit, stay on it, and I will hook you guys up
Okay.
immediately. She's so cool.
Yeah, I've been going through our old pal rep, and I know cannabis
Right.
had a lot of issues last week, or 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
So it's been a little challenging.
Yep. Yeah. Whatever you need, I'll get you situated
Awesome.
once we're done this.
Yeah.
But I think
is you consume in so many different ways, and it's not just flower. There's so many different things to do and to use and to try, and I want you to be able to find that here.
I think they will. I think they will. What is some advice you can leave with some entrepreneurs trying to get into this space, or just someone that has a vision and they want to go after it? Because you've had to do quite a few, and you've had to stay strong, and you've stayed motivated and you stayed true to what it seems you've always had in the core. So how do you translate that to someone else to kind of grasp from?
Yeah, I think if you have a vision and a dream, you just don't give up. I mean, there's going to be lots of obstacles. There's going to be lots of challenges. There's going to be lots of hurdles, but just don't give up. I mean, if it's really in you, you have to keep pushing forward. I mean, I don't think you can actually rest if it's really in you. Like, I think there's going to be something that's always like, hey, what about this? What about this? And there's always going to be something that reminds you of the thing that you're maybe not listening to. So if it's really in you, you've got to do it. Don't give up. Just keep pushing forward.
You heard it. You heard from the boss lady herself. So when do the concerts start at the the house?
7
They've
o'clock.
already started?
They've started, but we do them every Friday at 7 o'clock, and we have a variety of bands. We had reggae last week. The first band that I really love, it was a band of doctors. So they're really their keyboardist didn't make it because he was in heart surgery. Like, these are hardcore doctors.
What the heck?
I love that they were doctors, and like they were calling each other doc, which I thought was really cool. But they were playing like classic 90s, 2000 rock, which was really awesome. And then we had the reggae band. And I think this week is another sort of rock band kind of vibe. So yeah, really excited.
And when do you think the back of the house operations will open up with
Next
the
week.
patio and
I
everything?
finished that
Next week?
patio last Friday.
Oh, let's go. Pavers are down.
They are down. There's so many rocks in my life last week, but yes, they are down. And so, yeah, classes will start next week.
Awesome. Well, you guys heard it. Please, if you're in Jersey, especially the North Jersey, go check out the Grass Cab. And I'd encourage you to do it on Friday so you can get some music. You know, get some weed, get some music, meet the community, meet the people, and have a good time. Shavon, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
This episode is brought to you by Waddle, the world's fastest and easiest way to review and track your medicinal cannabis products. Waddle offers batch-specific reviews, so you'll know what to stash or what to trash. It's exclusively available for Pennsylvania medical cannabis patients. Waddle helps you take the guesswork out of your cannabis journey and ensures transparency with the verified product tracking. Download Waddle now on iOS or Android, that's WODL, and take control of your cannabis experience today.